fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class EXCELLION from the Transformers Age of the Primes line from Hasbro. Now this is a Walmart exclusive, and he is a kind of Hot Rod-esque repaint of Hotshot from Cybertron that we saw back in the Transformers Legacy United line. What I think is kind of funny is EXCELLION is actually what his name was in Galaxy Force, which is the Japanese show that was dubbed over here into Cybertron. I don't believe, it's been a minute since I've seen it, I don't believe he ever uses or assumes this form in the show, because he gets rebuilt into X-Geyser or Cybertron Defense Hotshot. So we never actually see this form. I think this was just a repaint they did for the toys back in the day. But it's a pretty cool repaint, so I'll give it to him. And like I said, this is a Walmart exclusive. It's part of their capsule that they have going on here. I also ordered Noise Maze, aka Sideways, and they canceled that one. So no problem fulfilling this one. I guess he was less popular, so I'll have to try to find a Noise Maze out in the wild somewhere. But packaging pretty standard for Age of the Primes here. Got some nice artwork of the robot mode and the vehicle mode here on the front. Got the plastic window so you can see the figure inside. Close-up of that same robot mode artwork there on this side. Over here you have your sliver of the Ring of Prime statues. This is pretty standard. And then over here on the back we have some nice product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. And this shows, let me zoom in here, a Earth planet key that has silver paint. So that would be a first, I think, for the planet keys or the force chips. We'll see if it's true. I at this point I can't see it anywhere in the packaging, so I'll have to open it up, but fingers crossed it's actually painted and that's not false advertising. So let's go ahead, let's get him out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. So here is EXCELLION out of the packaging. I think he looks pretty good. Definitely has a very Hot Rod-esque color scheme, and I think it looks really good on this mold. We'll start down here at the bottom. You have some nice gold paint here on the shins, red plastic for the legs, have the little gray feet there. With your ankle tilt, you can see pretty much 90 degrees there. You can move the toes up and down a little bit as well. Some nice paint here on the crotch, a little bit of gray, kind of a gunmetal gray there. Kick very far forward. You can kick back. Now you have this like piece here. You can kind of move it up a little bit, but that's pretty much about as far as you can go. But you can kind of kick like back around it. So if you wanted him to kick backwards for some reason, you could. The joint can go that far. You just have to kind of move that out of the way. Kick very far out to the side. You got a thigh swivel there. You got 90 degrees there in the knee. Nice paint here for the torso. Some really nice kind of gunmetal gray again. Silver, a little bit of gold. Head sculpt I think looks good. It's exactly the same as the Hotshot figure. Nice blue metallic paint there for the eyes. Silver for the face. A little bit of gold here for the crown. That looks pretty sharp. Some nice silver here on the shoulder with an Autobot symbol. Silver over here as well. Shoulders can move kind of up and down, mostly for transformation. But you have a swivel here. You have a swivel here. You can bend at the elbow. The door kind of just hangs here with the piece of the side window just hanging off there. But you can actually rotate the hands as well. It's a little difficult to get at them with all the kibble on the arm, but you absolutely can. And you get a little bit of movement here as well where the screw is. And then you have a ball joint for the head. So side to side, up and down, ever so slightly. The head's also kind of on a piece that rotates around, so you can utilize that as well to go back and forth. You can tilt a little side to side. But you can see this panel kind of drops down in that area. And then on the back here, we'll see this mostly in the vehicle mode, but some nice gold paint. Really caked on the gray here on the red plastic. And then you have translucent blue, so that's red paint there on the translucent blue. But I think they did a pretty good job of matching it to the plastic. I don't have a problem with that. And you'll see the gold flames again some more in the vehicle mode. But yeah, good articulation, good paint scheme. It is exactly the same Hotshot toy that we saw back in Legacy United. And just to show that off, here is that toy. It is exactly the same mold. I would say paint applications are pretty similar. Yeah, maybe there's a slightly more paint in the shoulder area. Otherwise, all the paint application spots are pretty much the same for the most part. Head sculpt is exactly the same. Both have the same kind of metallic blue for the eyes and silver for the face. It's really just the color of the helmet and the crown that are slightly different. But yeah, it was a good mold. It's a good mold still. Now, the one thing that I did think was cool, he does come with 2 accessories. He's got this blaster, which is the exact same blaster as the other toy. But you'll notice that this one was yellow and then painted silver or gunmetal gray. This one, unfortunately, has no paint on it whatsoever. So that is kind of a bummer. It would have been nice to get the same level of paint on there. But I believe the reason we didn't is because the planet key is painted. Now, when I first looked at this, I thought, wow, that's really nice. You have a really nice planet key there with the silver painted. And I just assumed it was an Earth key because it's blue. And then I realized it's actually a Speedia key, but it's blue and painted silver. So we know it's a Speedia key because it's the same key that came with Hotshot. So, of course, it is the same, molded piece. But then they did this one out of blue to complement the color scheme, whereas this one was done out of red, I guess, to be accurate, because there's not really any translucent, like, at least with this one, translucent blue plastic is also used for the windows. Here, the translucent plastic was yellow, so making this one key out of red, there was no other translucent red plastic anywhere else in the toy, but they still did it. So I wish I could put the silver paint from this onto this and make this one perfect. And instead I have a blue Speedia key with really nice silver paint on it. So whatever, I guess I'll just pretend it's an Earth key. I should have known that they would not remold it to be an Earth key, because it, of course they're going to just use the exact same thing they made before. But you can plug it in there. It doesn't spring load anything. It's purely, cosmetic just to simulate. But what you can do is then pop these wings out. And I will say in robot mode, they're quite annoying to get a hold of. They're, for some reason, much easier in vehicle mode. You wouldn't think so, but... So if you like the look of the wings out in robot mode, although honestly you can barely see them with how gigantic the shoulder pads are. But if you like the look of them out there in robot mode, especially to kind of give them even more of a hot rod vibe. But it's up to you. So I love that the planet key is painted. I hate that it's the wrong symbol, but of course they're going to use the same symbol because that's what's the mold comes with. They just did it out of a different colored plastic. So it's kind of confusing to the mind, if that makes sense. But yeah, otherwise, I think it's a good repaint of a mold that was pretty good to begin with. They didn't really change anything. It's just a repaint, but looks pretty good. All right, so I've gone ahead and removed his accessories for transformation here. If you handled the previous toy, the transformation's exactly the same. Even if you handled the original toy, the transformation is pretty similar. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those back in. We're going to start off by kind of lifting this backpack section up here and away. And then you can just kind of pop this piece out. And then you're going to just rotate the head down into the back there. You're going to bring the shoulders up and peg them into each other, like that, and then just kind of leave the arms out here like so. Then we are going to rotate this section 180. We are going to come down here to the feet, rotate the ankle down like you're using the ankle tilt, put the feet in, and then close it back up. Do the same thing over here. Then we are going to open up the shins. They are on hinges, so they will pop open, and then you can accordion the legs down like so, and then close these back up. So we'll do the same thing over on this side. Pop this open, accordion the foot down inside, and then close this back up. And then at that point you can go ahead and push these together. You can then bring this down, and this will kind of drop into place like so. And then you're going to push this down. You can see that there's a little connector there for this blue tab, and then this is just going to go down and peg in like so, and then that'll allow you to then drop the arms down. Now you have these two little red tabs here, so you just have to kind of wiggle them so that they can get inside the leg. But there we have it. And there is EXCELLION in vehicle mode. EXCELLION's vehicle mode looks pretty great. I love the little bit of gunmetal gray here on the side. The gold here looks fantastic. More gunmetal gray here on the top. I feel like here it just kind of looks perfect, but I feel like on here it's kind of really caked on. I don't know why. The translucent blue plastic I think looks fantastic. And then the red that they had to paint on top of that, I think they did a pretty good job of matching it to the red plastic. It really fits pretty seamlessly, and I don't really see any issues where it kind of, you know, clashes when it's up against the actual colored plastic. That looks pretty great. The gold flames here on the front looks fantastic. A little bit of a lighter silver there for the headlights, and then you have kind of a little bit lighter gold down here for the grille. But all of it looks good. I mean, everything about this vehicle mode, all the paint, I think all of it looks fantastic. You can, of course, still plug in the planet key here on the top, and then you can pop out the wings. And like I said, for some reason, they are a little bit easier to get out in vehicle mode than they are in robot mode. But you can actually see them now. Again, kind of giving them a little bit more of a hot rod look with the wing there on the back. So that's pretty cool. And you can also just go ahead and attach the weapon here on top as well if you like. But you can also attach it in any of these other spots. So if we close this back up, you could theoretically attach it here on the side, which is not a bad look. Or you could attach it here on the front, which I admit looks a little bit sillier, but is still possible. And then you have the same two connection points on the other side as well. But I think on the top is probably the best. Although I gotta be honest, I do kind of like the look of it here on the back. It's not terrible. But yeah, overall, really cool vehicle mode. I thought it was great for the original release, and I think it's even better here. And in case you want to see a quick comparison of the two side by side, once again, I feel like most of the paint applications are pretty much one for one. You have, you know, the gray here for these grills on the top. You have the headlights. Obviously, this one doesn't have the flames, but other than that, they're pretty much the same up here. Pretty much the same. This section is also painted, and then even the grills on the side as well. So it's just nice to see they didn't really skimp out on paint when they had to do a little bit extra here for like the flames. They still pretty much hit all the other places. So pretty much one-to-one there for paint applications, which is nice to see. I think EXCELLION's a lot of fun. I think it's a good repaint of a pretty good mold. You know, it's only been about a year or so, so you might not need another version of Cybertron Hotshot or Galaxy Force EXCELLION, whichever you prefer. But it's up to you. I mean, I think it's a good repaint. If you liked the previous version of Hotshot, I don't think you'll be disappointed here because, like I said, except for the color scheme, it's pretty much exactly the same. But if you feel like the first version is good enough for you and you don't really need this one, I could totally see that as well. I really do like the inclusion of the painted planet key. I just wish that they had either molded it in red and painted it silver so that the Speedia key was actually perfect, or they had given us an Earth key and painted it silver so that way the symbol matched the color. I understand how it wound up like this. It's just a shame that it's just, unfortunately, an inaccurate key. I also wish we didn't lose the paint applications on the blaster, but I understand, you know, they painted one and sacrificed the other. They did it the opposite of what they gave us the first time. So I don't think there's anything really to regret here. It's just, you know, one or two things that I kind of wish could be changed. But I still think it's a really fun repaint. I think it's a good toy to begin with. And yeah, if you pick this one up, I don't think you'll be disappointed. But I could also understand why you might feel like you don't need this repaint. If I can ever find Noise Maze, I'll be happy to do a video on that one. But for now, all we have here is EXCELLION. But I'm not disappointed. Like I said, I think this one's pretty cool. Happy to add it to the collection. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.